This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. It is a hump day Wednesday, and it's good to be back in the chair.
Welcome back.
Right here on ATL Day Ones. I appreciate it. I appreciate that, T. It's good to be back. And, I say I'm a little darker, because I got a little tan there. And or my lighting messed up. We'll figure it out. But we got a lot of good stuff on board for today. We're going to start off with the Atlanta Braves. We're halfway through the season. Who needs to be better in order for them to keep this run going? And also, we'll jump into the Atlanta Hawks. Wow, it is quiet on the tip. It started off with making a lot of noise, but now it's getting a little quiet. What is going on? Do the Hawks need to make another move? We'll explain exactly why or why not. And last but not least, our boy Chadwick Boseman has been gone for a couple years, and it might be time to bring back T'Challa. We'll discuss that and for the culture. But before we get there, T, like I said, like I mentioned before, we're halfway through the season right now, and the Atlanta Braves have been on an absolute roll. They get the win last night, 7-1 against the St. Louis Cardinals. And Ian Anderson, like you said, he looked a little shaky, specifically in the fifth inning when the bases loaded, and he was like, all right, you going to get out of this inning or what? He was able to get out of it, but it seems like he struggled in the month of June. There's no secret about that. He had his high ERA throughout the entire season in that month.
Right.
So, but I think it was pretty good to kind of see him kind of get back on track and get out of those sticky situations.
Agreed. And it's nice when you get run support, right? So
yes, that's always helps. Early on, too.
Yes, when you get a 5-run inning to start off, that's a good look for you. I believe that builds confidence, and that just tells you, hey, you can kind of take a breather, relax, and take this game slowly. And it seemed like he was just a little bit more in control, the confidence seemed to build as the game went on. And I like the fact that, and I'm going to go in another direction as well. Ian Anderson, it was a good look. But for me, the best thing outside of the big bats was Tyler Matzek, because and Colin McHugh as well, because when I talked to Sam about this yesterday, of course, Sam Crenshaw guesting with us for the last day yesterday, we talked about the kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly of the first half, or the best and the worst. And for me, and where we wanted to see improvement, I said that bullpen. Absolutely want to see the A team step it up. But I also prefaced that with saying I do know they're getting people back, right?
Right.
So yes. Kenley Jansen is on his way. Tyler Matzek is back. And last night I felt very comfortable with the A team. I was like, wow. I said, okay, middle relief. Okay, closer. Oh, all right. So that to me was a good look. Tyler Matzek, I know, maybe didn't have the velocity there. It was around 95 miles per hour. So you hope that his velocity picks up. But a scoreless inning after you've been out for 2 months from the Braves, that was a true highlight. And I think just a positive as we near the All-Star break.
No doubt about it. Like, there are so many things that, that have been going so well for the Braves. And
Yes.
like you said, to lose a guy like, Tyler Matzek, for a couple months, as given, especially what he did in the World Series last year and that absolute amazing run that he went on, personal run that he went on. I think it was something. It was a sight to see, especially when he went with the behind the back stab and throw the man out at first. But I was like, oh my God, this dude out here showing out, man. So it was definitely cool to see for sure. But tell us before we want to talk about who needs to be better for the Braves, and we're going to discuss who needs to keep it going, who needs to keep that run going in order for the Braves to go ahead and catch the Mets, because they're 2.5 games back, y'all. This is about to get real quick. But before we get that, Tenitra, Batiste, tell them about who we got taking care of us for this particular segment on ATL Day Ones.
And it's our friends over at Bet Online. That's your number one source for all your betting needs, all your sports info. You can find out all the latest sports developments, league reviews, news, information on sports wagers. And you look at the fact that Major League Baseball, this is a great example. Braves Mets, you might want to go with an over under on who wins this division. You might want to go with an over under of how many games ends up separating the Braves and Mets. Of course, I'm going to say Braves because we hope they win the division. Or you may
Indeed.
want to go with an over under on based on where the Braves are midway through the season. What does the back half of the season look like in total wins? All of that is something that you can not just bet on, but you can get the information that helps you with betting at Bet Online. So that's your best spot. They give you scores, they give you podcasts, they give you news. This season, I've even gone to a couple of their podcasts just to get some insight because Jarvis and I, we have to know the over under on things as well so that we're aware and can share with you in a quality fashion and give you accurate information about particular games or postseason playoffs, all of that. So this is where you get the information. It's fast, it's easy. You can even check in on some of the niche sports like MMA and golf on this site. So again, just head to the website. You can use your mobile device if you want to learn about trends and actions. It's really simple. BetOnline.net. That's where the game starts for you. BetOnline.net.
And where the second half of this season starts, I think in order for the Braves to continue where they are, I think like there has to be a certain group or individual that has to continue to do what they're doing, right? Because like there's a formula that has come with the Braves, and we've seen it, right? We've been following this team really closely, and I think that for you though, I think what group specifically needs to kind of like, all right, we need to keep getting this from you all, in order for the Braves to go ahead and eventually catch up with the Mets. I go ahead and speak that into fruition.
Right, right. Well, I really like seeing what the bottom of the order has been able to do. And so and it depends because of course we know there have been some shifts here
Right.
and there, but if we look at the bottom of the order and particularly Michael Harris II, if we
Yes.
look at
Yes,
that
Lord.
part of if we look at that part of the bottom of the order, I really, really love what they've been able to do and hope to see them keep doing it. So that's going to be my 1A. Actually, I'm going to leave it there because I want to answer the other question you have, but I want to hear what you have to say too. So I'll leave it right there on the good of who I want to see keep making it happen.
And when the Braves were trying to figure things out and they started to really come out of that rut or that long winning streak that they went on, it was the bottom order that was carrying them because I think they
Yes.
were being the most productive. And then when you have inserted Rookie of the Year Michael Harris,
Right.
I think
Well, I'm saying that too.
see how I'm speaking things into
Right.
fruition today. Like,
We got to do it. We got
I'm
to
being a
do it,
prophet
man. We
today.
got to do it. We got to
So
do
when they inserted him into that bottom part of that order, I think that was
it.
something that has really gone well for them. So I'm definitely on board with that. But I think that it has to be the pitching rotation. I
Sure,
think that
sure.
for them to continue to do what they're doing, remain consistent, keep those runs low, and keep those ERAs low,
Yeah. Keep the
and
walks
give those
low.
bats a chance, and keep people off base. I
Yes.
think that we've kind of talked about that with pretty much every guy in the starting rotation. Like, all right, keep the guys off base, keep those
Yeah.
ducks off the pond, we'll be straight. And I think that's the thing that we've been watching them do, and I think they need to continue that in order to be to remain consistent because you got a guy like Max Fried and you see Charlie Morton. He's starting to figure things out and start to really get on a roll, and you have Spencer Strider coming out of nowhere essentially to be that fifth guy in the rotation. So I think if the starting rotation is able to remain consistent and continue to do what they do, I think the Braves will be able to keep it going. But on the other side of that, who needs to be better? Like, because we already know, like, there are different aspects of this team that have
Right.
been doing really good, doing really well, but there are some people have been struggling. So who you got as far
Yeah.
as who needs to be better in the second half of the season?
Right. I'm gonna go with left shark. And that's what I'm gonna call Marcelo Zuna from now on.
Oh, left
You
shark.
remember Left Shark from the Super Bowl when Katy Perry and Left Shark was doing his own thing? I would just go with Left Shark because
Oh my God.
I don't
Yes.
understand
Yes.
sometimes what's going on with
He'll be
his love.
sliding all over the place. I'm like, bro,
Right.
why you
And he's
sliding? Just
sliding
run
for what?
through, catch the ball.
Them are those inopportune moments. So literally, I just want him
Dude.
to do better. And look, I know we have to keep him in the rotation somehow, some way, because he's going to give you the long ball. That's what you have him
Yes.
for. You don't have him for doubles and singles or anything in the cycle. Just hit the long ball. So he is giving you a fair amount of that. I think he's been coming in around the 273 mark.
Mm-hmm.
All I need you to do is when your number is called for left field, just be adequate. Just don't make any errors. Don't add anything to the equation for the other team. I think that would be huge if we could just get left shark right.
No doubt. And I agree. That's who I had too. I had Marcell Ozuna as well. But I'll bring another aspect into it, right? Like, because, him being in the DH, that's the ideal position where the Braves would like him to be, right?
Exactly.
That's
so
ideal.
That pose a conundrum. You're right.
Right, yeah. So, but there is another guy who may make the All-Star team at the DH position. That's William Contreras.
Well, yeah, right.
So
exactly. Who was at the bottom of the order last night and did some things, right?
Exactly. So I think that if you aren't able to be consistent in the field and you aren't able to pick it up from at the plate, I think they're like the Braves are so deep.
Yes.
That they have your replacement ready and waiting in the wings if you don't, get right. And I think that we both agree that Marcell Ozuna is a guy that the Braves need to see some improvement from in the second half of the season. But T, really quickly, as I've been kind of thinking about the Falcons, as we going through the dead period and everything, the kind of thing that came to my mind and just start to dwell on, right? Because, we talked about the Falcons potentially making some additions on the offensive line late, right, or right around training camp or during training camp once cuts are made. Yeah. But I started thinking about the defensive line, right? Because, we have some guys that are going to be playing defensive end in that, base formation for the Falcons that nobody's never heard of. Let's just be real. Let's keep it real. And then you got the rookies that they were brought in, Arnold Ebiketie and D'Angelo Malone. Those guys, are expected to improve that pass rush, right? Even though they're young. You got Lorenzo Carter from a free agent. He was brought in as well. Yep. But just from that defensive end standpoint, I think that it seems like the Falcons are kind of banking on whether those guys and Taquan Graham and Marlon Davis, it seems like those guys are the guys they're expecting to approve. Like, does that sit well with you? I don't know about you. It kind of rumps my stomach a little bit, but how did that make you feel as far as with them being on the roster and not making any making any additions going forward?
Right. And I definitely think there have to be some additions out there, right? And because when we look at those kind of the three pockets, right? We look at the secondary, we look at the linebacker core, and then we look at the guys up front. I feel like we're both confident, and most people are, that this secondary is going to do well now that A.J. Terrell has some partners in crime, so to speak, with Richie Grant coming out and having something to prove, and you've got Dean Marlowe out there, and of course, Casey Hayward. So you feel like that group's fine. You also feel like confident about the linebackers. I know we've pressed for time, so I won't go through the names because you have already. I feel like they're going to do some things. When I go and look at that defensive end room, I get concerned. When I look at the tackles, I get concerned because I feel like, okay, other than Grady, everybody else is kind of in prove-it mode because we still don't know. What is this, 3 years in, what we're going to get out of Marlon Davidson? We don't know what his body's going to allow for. Taquan Graham is still in a space of dealing with injuries as well. We don't know what we're going to get from him. And then, like you said, when we look down the depth chart, we just don't see what we need to see if indeed we want guys up front who are going to be that, for lack of a better term, that first line of defense. So, yeah, I think the Falcons, I expect that Terry Fontenot is still out there looking for some guys to shore up the front line, the D line.
Yeah, I don't think Terry Fontenot is a guy that is going to rest on his laurels because I feel like he knows that he has to be constantly looking like he was last year.
Yes.
They brought in Anthony Rush. They brought him off of the street, and he helped the run game, significantly, because, the Falcons were struggling trying to stop the run and pass in the pass. So they were, and when they brought Rush in, they kind of stabilized that thing just a little bit. And I think that he's going to have that same mindset going into 2022 for sure. But coming up next, though, T, the Atlanta Hawks started off with made a lot of noise with DeJounte Murray. Then they made the trade of Kevin Huerter.
Yeah.
Now that it's quiet, What is Travis Schlenk thinking? We'll try to dive into the mind of the president of basketball operation next, right here on ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and T. Don't go anywhere.